What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of Debate with Bake, brought to you by Mo Serious Entertainment in the heart of Mo City, Texas, baby. For those that you don't know, that's Houston, baby. I'm your host, Mr. Charles Baker, aka C Bake. It's my boy, my co-host Gerard Cole, aka Rude Boy. What's up with you, man?
Good, man. Had a great day today at work, man. College opened for the first time this week, so trying to educate these youngins. I remember when we was there back in the day at Binghamton.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you remember that was a long time ago, brother. It make me feel old, man. It's like I think we've been out of school for like what, almost 20 years or something like that, man.
Yeah, man. It's a different breed of students now, man. Different breed, man. But
I
I
know.
like the fact.
It's a different breed of youngsters anyway. But before we get started, man, for everybody that's listening to this podcast or tuning in, first we want to say thank you, but make sure you follow Mo Serious Entertainment or Mo Serious ENT on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe to Mo Serious Entertainment on YouTube. Yeah, man. We hoping that that we can keep growing. Again, I want to thank Cole, man. We've been doing this for years, man. I sure appreciate it, man. I think that we got something special here. But I want to thank you, brother, for being in on it. And we're gonna keep expanding this thing, man, and take it all the way to the next level, man. Before we get started, man, is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you just want to kind of throw out there? You want to, say something to your people, anything like that?
Nah, man. I just want to big up everybody out here listening, man. This is something new that I'm doing with my man Steve Bake brought me onto his show, and I'm just trying to expand my game, when it comes to, doing stuff like this. I love sports, man. And this is my boy from college. He's like my brother from another mother, man.
That's right, man. That's right. All right, man. Well, let's get into it, man. This week we mainly gonna get into boxing. We're gonna talk about boxing, we're gonna talk about basketball, and then we're gonna get a little bit into the NFL. Our first topic today is Jake Paul. Jake Paul, is he good for boxing? He's a YouTube guy who got popular in the public with YouTube, doing all kind of I want to say kind of daredevil stuff, stuntman stuff, and he developed a big following. And he decided, he's also got a brother named Logan Paul, and they became popular on YouTube. And I think they're from Ohio, if I believe, or I could be wrong about that. If I am, I'm sorry. But both of them have been pretty good athletes. They were pretty good high school athletes. I'm not sure if they played collegiate ball, but both of them come from a fairly athletic background. But Jake Paul in particular has invaded the boxing world starting back in 2021 when he decided to have his first fight. I cannot pronounce the guy's name, but he ended up knocking out the guy and it became popular. And when he kind of invaded the sport of boxing, it kind of started off, everybody sees it now, where you got a lot of celebrity matches where you got celebrities lining up to fight each other in these celebrity matches. And he kind of, he didn't start everything off, but he kind of elevated the game. He got popular and he decided to fight. Of course, the one that he caught my attention with is when he fought Nate Robinson, and he slept Nate Robinson.
Remember
And
that one?
yeah, and so after that fight, and that was in 2021, and they did it on the Triller Network, who's actually gaining, because I think Triller also brought us the Roy Jones Jr. fight with Mike Tyson as well, and they had Snoop on there. Snoop did a great job of hosting. But after for me, when he did that fight with Nate Robinson, that's when he got on the scene for me. I didn't really take him serious, but I thought, knowing what I know about Nate Robinson, Nate Robinson to me was a super athlete. Of course, he played in New York for you guys for a while. He was a multiple, I think, maybe 2-time, 3-time slam dunk champion. I remember in those times he was going back and forth with Dwight Howard. And of course, people looked at him as a super athlete, 5'7", had an amazing vertical leap. And 5'7" in the NBA is impressive. And we also know he played football, where I think he also had an opportunity to play cornerback in the NFL. He played cornerback, I believe, for the University of Washington. Shout out to them. And if anybody knows, a cornerback is it's one of the most athletic positions on the field. So I'm thinking, when he's fighting Nate Robinson, that I don't really know who Jake Paul is, but I'm saying to myself, man, Nate Robinson is a super athlete. And then Jake Paul goes in there and pretty much embarrasses him, knocks him out, knocks him down a couple of times. I think that it might have been a 4 or 5 round fight, but pretty much it surprised me because I guess my expectations for Nate was high. And so he follows them. He follows those fights. I think he has a fight in between that with somebody else. And then he fights Tyron Woodley, who was a UFC star, I believe. He's a UFC star, MMA star. But he was a multiple time champion. I think he fought at the welterweight division, which I'm not sure if it's the same as boxing. I mean, that's 147 pounds in boxing. But the first fight, it was controversial. He won that fight. He was attempting to fight Tommy Fury, which is the younger brother of Tyson Fury. And everybody, the buzz was going about, okay, can he do this against a real fighter? Because there was a lot of buzz coming out of his camp that, I can do this, I'm legit at this. And people that were coming in and out of his camp was saying that, he looks good. He's taking it serious. And it's actually, he kept telling us in the media that it's more than just entertainment with him. He's actually thinking that he can do this and compete with other professionals. Remember, he kept saying that he was going to start to compete with other professionals. Then he started marketing himself and saying that other professionals were scared to fight him. So while this is all going on, because of his YouTube following, which he had a lot of followers, he also becomes kind of like his own promoter, his own kind of like marketing genius. And based on him, he fights Woodley again in a rematch. Well, let me go back. He was supposed to fight Tommy Fury. Things didn't work out. Something happened where Tommy Fury couldn't get into the country. So the fight got called off. And they put Woodley back in as a replacement for Fury. And so it was a lot of buzz about that. And a lot of people thought it was controversial, the first fight with him and Woodley. Anyway, he goes in and he knocks Woodley out. Floors.
6th round, right? It was the 6th round, right?
6th round. He knocked him out. And when he knocked him out, I know for me, I don't know about you, but I know for me, when I saw the punch, I was like, man, that was a legit punch. And I'm still saying to myself, I don't know about, because boxing is so hard. But in some ways, and I actually bought that fight on pay-per-view. God, I can't believe I bought that fight, but I bought that fight because I love boxing. And when he floored him, I'm like, okay, Nate Robinson is a basketball player. Okay, I get that. Okay, that happens. He knocked out somebody that was a better athlete than him. That surprised me. The first fight, they had to go to decision with Woodley, but the second fight, when he floored him, I'm like, man, could this be true that this dude, he hit him with a legit right hand and he floored him, Gerard? And I'm like, I don't know. But then Woodley gets up off the canvas and gets in a press conference and says, we need to start respecting this guy. And this is his opponent. And, I know Woodley, he's a UFC MMA guy. But for him to say that, and I'm saying to myself, this guy, he's not a boxer, but he uses his hands. He fought in combat sports. He was a multiple time champion. He'll go down in the Hall of Fame someday in that sport. That's how how good Woodley was. And he's saying that we need to respect him. And I'm like, man, I don't know, this guy, I don't know, because I'm sure, I'm like, for everybody in the boxing world, I'm a pure boxing fan. I'm like, this, it's kind of disrespectful, but at the same time, I'm like, well, you know what? This might be legit. But the thing about it, and I go back to the question I posed at the beginning of the podcast, is he good for boxing? I asked that question because, Gerard, when I look at, he's already on pay-per-view. he's not really seen or viewed or maybe not accepted by some people. And I'm talking about boxing purists as a real boxer or fighter. But how is it within 5 or 6, maybe 7 fights, um, he's making millions of dollars? I think even now on a couple of his cards, and that's the crazy part about it. It's not a lot of fights he's had. He's even had other people fight on his card that he promoted himself. And he's paying people, he's paying fighters that's on his card. And what he's getting as far as a following, what he's getting, like he got a deal from Fox, I think Showtime. He did a boxing match on Showtime. What he's getting in 5, 6, 7 fights sometimes takes real boxers 30, 40 fights. And so I pose that question, is he good for boxing? Because number one, he's making money. He's got a large following. There are people coming out who are not even casual fans. And when I say not casual fans, like these are people who have no knowledge about boxing. They're coming to the arena, Gerard. They're buying tickets. They're watching pay-per-view. It's people that come from his YouTube following that are coming into the world of the boxing, and people are paying money. He's promoting this thing by himself. I mean, he's got people helping him, of course. He's got people, hey, help me out with this, ticket sales and all that. But he's pretty much being his own boss, and he's got major networks like Showtime and Fox saying, yes, please, we want to broadcast your fight. And so what I'm asking is this: the marketing, the promotion, he's putting together cards that goes with marketing and promotion. He's selling out arenas. He's making good. He's on pay-per-view. He's not a real quote unquote boxer. He's achieving all of this so far. And I pose the question because it's like, man, as a boxing purist, a boxing fan, I'm saying to myself, everything that you want as a boxer, I mean, not just the skills in the ring, but I mean, he's got some okay skills. I mean, his skills are good for the short time he's been in boxing. But for everything else, boxing is a business, is entertainment. He checks every box as far as promotion, marketing, money, bringing money to the networks. And I'm saying to myself, and when he does press conferences, he's calling out real boxers. People are paying attention. And I'm saying to myself, everything that he's doing, whether I like it or not, as a boxing purist, he's growing the sport. And he's growing the sport to the point where even his brother's involved. Now, here's the thing that kills me about the Paul brothers. I mean, I know we're talking about Jake, and I'm gonna let you speak in a minute. But Logan Paul, who's pretty much following the same path as Jake Paul, he got a fight with Floyd Mayweather. I mean, we know Floyd is the grandfather of making money in events. He fought Floyd Mayweather. Like, think about that. These guys are just getting into boxing. I know guys in boxing that wanted to fight Floyd that were legitimate boxers and never got a shot. And these guys are coming out from being regular guys. I mean, they're good athletes, and they're checking the box. So again, I pose that question to you because the kid is starting to win me over. I mean, is he good for boxing, in your opinion? And if so, why? If not, tell me why. I mean, it's crazy to me.
I think he's good for boxing because there was a period in time where boxing was dying out a little bit for the non-traditional fan. You get what I'm saying? And I think what makes Paul so unique is that he has that Mayweather vibe when it comes to things. But what also that Jake Paul, what I like about him is that he learned the business early on. Like he has that whole business savvy thing where he had his own YouTube page, he had his Vine page, and then from there, when he moved on to that, he went to Disney. So he was already around the industry. So he knows how to market things. He knows what people want, having his pranksters channel and also having his rap channel. So he also has a different audience in each different case. You have your prankster audience, you have your Disney audience, you have your rap hip hop artist audience.
And then him connecting with different people, like you said, with him and his brother being able to connect with people like Mayweather, they share ideas. And Mayweather only connects himself with things that make money. And I think that he does an excellent job of promoting himself and also bringing attention to UFC, because now that he's bringing attention to UFC, he's also getting people to take notice because he has beef with the CEO of UFC.
That's right. Dana
and now
White.
he's also getting UFC fighters, and he's talking about the money disparity. So now he's getting more people to say, hey, let me look at Jake Paul. This dude is saying a lot. He's also being a social advocate. So I'm just like, I'm really feeling him on that standpoint. But I think he's what boxing's been missing for a while is a personality. I think a lot of people are the same. And the reason what made Mayweather so great and Mayweather hated so much or liked so much was that he was a personality. And I think a lot of times too many people just go through the system and they just, you know, do what they said. And I think he's going against the grain to the point where I wouldn't even be surprised if he starts his own boxing brand and get people to sign with him.
That's right. And just to add to that, I'm glad you brought that. That's a good point, because when I asked that question, is he good for boxing? Of course, there's the marketing. Of course, there's the, you know, he developed a YouTube following. Of course, he got that social media people. He's already had a following. But one thing that you said that I think with Floyd, and I'm also going to throw Ali in this, Muhammad Ali talked enough noise that a lot of people he made himself a character. And so a lot of people wanted to come and watch Ali lose. Every time Ali had a fight, you had people paying for tickets just to see if who's going to shut this big mouth up. And so I think with what Jake did, and I think what Floyd did, and I think exactly what you're saying, what boxing was missing was that entertainment, that character, that, you know, that man, I want to see this guy lose. You know, like for boxing purist fans, it's kind of like, you know, Jake is this character that came out of nowhere. If you're a pure boxing fan and you love boxing, you watch boxing, you eat boxing, you know that them guys put in a lot of work. And these guys been boxing since they were like, you know, 12 years old, 10 years old, some even younger than that. So it takes a while. It takes a long time to be a great boxer. You know, it's skill, it's training, it's endurance, it's growing, it's learning, it's being smart. So if you're a boxing purist and you enjoy that kind of stuff and you enjoy the journey, how long it takes to become a great boxer, I mean, just a boxer period, not even a great boxer, just to be able to compete at the pro level, maybe even make it through the Olympics, you realize how hard it is. And you got this guy who his image was created on doing daredevil type of stuff, just decide one day, you know what, I love boxing, I want to box, and I'm gonna box some celebrities. I'm going to train, I'm going to work hard, but at the same time, you know, I'm going to bring my YouTube following. I'm going to put everything on my videos. I'm already a character. I already created a character for myself. And the common man that's on social media follows me, the silly guy, the hardworking guy, the guy that does the everyday activity. And I'm going to take him along with me, and I'm going to go into a sport where traditionally, a lot of the boxers look like me. Not a lot of the boxers represent what I represent, which is the everyday man. And what I mean by everyday man, I know the Paul brothers have money. I'm not saying that, but they're doing stunts on YouTube, something that regular people enjoy, stuff that he can do. A regular person might try that stuff, or a regular person that's into stuff like that will tune in. So for him to be able to do that, step into the sport, and again, he didn't fight. It's not like he walked in and fought real boxers right off. He created a buzz for celebrity boxing. To do that, fight a basketball player, I mean, he fought some other guys, but he fought Tyron Woodley, and he knocked Tyron Woodley out. He called out. Now he's calling out regular boxers. And when he's calling them out, and here's another draw about him, Gerard, like Tommy Fury. And this is Jake. This is the marketing genius. This also goes into his character. He calls out Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is not able to get into the country, or some kind of technicality where they couldn't fight. The fight got thrown off. And what does Jake do? The master marketing genius that he is, he says, man, Tommy Fury is scared to fight me. And so it brings the draw in even more to where it's like, man, this dude, and you got people out there that's really like listening to him and might believe him, like, man, he might be scared of him. Like me and you, we know he ain't scared of him, but he's creating this draw for the people who are not the regular boxing fans, and they buying into it. Okay. And so exactly what you said, and the reason why I asked that question, and the WWE has that with the characters. They create good and bad characters. They create characters that people want to see lose. They create bad characters. They create good characters that people want to see win. So the entertainment phase that he's able to come in and the draw that he's doing, and he's making money. And I'm like, it's perfect for boxing because boxing needs its characters. Again, I go back to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was the mouth. You know, a lot of people wanted to see him get whooped. Then he joined the Nation of Islam. So at that time, in the 60s, you know, they were viewed by white America as villains. You know, so you had some people who were coming, and don't let them fight a white guy, a white champion back in those times. Some people were just paying money to go see Muhammad Ali lose or get a chance to see him lose. And so Jake Paul is almost a genius to me in the sense that he's been able to create this character. And I'm not gonna lie, Gerard. I mean, I'm not a casual boxing fan. I mean, I bought his pay-per-view. You know, when Logan fought, I bought the pay-per-view. I mean, it was because of Floyd, but even the draw with that, Logan Paul was like 205 pounds. You know, he was talking crazy. I wanted to see Floyd fight this dude that was like 40 or 50 pounds heavier than him. So these guys know what they doing, the Paul brothers. I mean, we're talking about Jake, but I think for right now, and I hate to say it, I hate to admit it, because I'm a very passionate boxing fan. What they bring it to the table is great for boxing. We need that. I mean, they able to get deals with Showtime. I mean, it's legit. Those kind of Showtime, CBS, those kind of Fox, those kind of news medias, multi-million, they're not going to link with somebody if they don't think they can make some money. You understand what I'm saying?
That one of the biggest things you said is like they're coming to an industry where there's not where you can honestly say they're the minority. There's not a lot of white in the boxers, American bred boxers in boxing. You know, everybody is usually of Black or Latino descent, or from another country or whatever. And then when you do get a white person, it's usually, you know, someone from Great Britain or
somebody from overseas,
Ireland, or something like that. So
right.
He's marketing himself real well, man.
Right. You know, one thing I wanted to bring up before we move on this Jake Paul thing, the last thing that got a lot of media, I think he's set to fight Anderson Silva pretty soon. I mean, I think that's insane. But again, the draw is coming right before this fight, what he's getting ready to have for Anderson Silva. And I just want to point this out because this is the Jake Paul influence. He was set to fight Hasim Rahman, I think it was last month, Hasim Rahman Jr., who was his sparring partner of his, who's a 12-0 as a heavyweight, a legitimate contender. You know, he lost one fight to Tommy Morrison, one of Tommy Morrison's sons, I think rest in peace to him if I got the right Tommy Morrison. But Rahman was supposed to fight him, and Rahman, he's a sparring partner of Jake. And before the fight, Rahman, his social media, I don't think he was prevalent on social media. And something happened where he couldn't get on social media or something like that. But because of the fight and the media hype that led up to the fight never took place. But the hype that Jake Paul had brought, Rahman was able to get back on social media, even though they didn't have the fight, because of the popularity. People want to see who he is because he was going to fight Jake. And now Rahman has pretty much taken this situation to which he didn't have a fight with Jake Paul. And now he's getting ready to, now everybody knows who he is. His social media account, he's picked up thousands of more followers because he was known as the guy that was going to fight Jake Paul. Now he's got another deal in place where he's getting ready to have another fight And it was kind of like Rockman was kind of like everybody in the boxing world knew who he was because it's Rockman Jr. and Hakeem Rockman Sr.'s son. But now I think this past weekend, the Zone did a telecast, and he was on that promoting. And it's kind of like what he was going through with Jake, even though the fight didn't happen, it's kind of boosted his career because Jake Paul is so popular. So anybody that's associated with Jake Paul, especially if you're going to fight him, or you did fight him, or, it was a lot of, his effect on Hakeem Rockman Jr.'s career has lit a match for his career. And now people know who Hakeem Rockman is. And I'm talking about the fan that's not really into boxing. They know who he is now because he was set to fight Jake Paul. I mean, it don't get no realer than that.
What's so interesting about Jake Paul, I think he's opened up this avenue where I could see in a couple years where he starts getting celebrities in the rap industry and basketball and football and baseball to come together and fight each other. This ain't happening. These are things that people want to see. Can you imagine Kevin Durant versus LeBron James or something? I'm just making this up, but this is the type of thing that I feel like Jake Paul's onto something.
Right. And I think even then, just to add to that, I think a couple of weeks ago, maybe even coming up now, I don't know, I heard something about this fight. It was two football guys. It was supposed to be Adrian Peterson versus Le'Veon Bell. And don't forget that Frank Gore fought Darren Williams, who played for the Utah Jazz. Frank Gore, of course, is a big time running back, played with the 49ers, a couple of teams. But that's what I'm saying is celebrity boxing that people are actually tuned into. I'm not going to say it's directly because of Jake or his brother, but they've made it popular to where people like, what this Paul guy is doing, maybe one of these guys want to do it. Maybe one of these guys have a shot at actually being a respectable fighter. And I think even with the Rockman fight with Jake, I heard a media outlet say, I'm not going to name it, but they said that the WBC, which is the World Boxing Council, that's the Green Belt Council, if he would have beat Rockman, they were considering ranking him amongst the cruiserweights and possible heavyweights. So again, man, I think you're 100% right when you say he has that Floyd persona. People, because of Floyd, with the HBO series, he made that popular before they went over to PBC and Showtime, the 24/7. You got a chance to look into Floyd's background, and he seemed flamboyant. You see the cars, the clothes, and everything. So within that series, he made himself a character, and you had people that just wanted to watch Floyd fight. Because when I know for me, when I got to watch Floyd's lifestyle, I was like, man, this dude works hard. Yeah, he talks crazy, but he works hard and he wins. And so he created a character in that series to where people wanted to watch him box. And the thing about Jake is, as long as he keeps winning, and doing what he's doing, well, at least I think as long as he keeps winning, it makes people tune in. One more question about Jake, and then we'll move on. Gerard, what happens if he does lose to a real boxer? Is he as popular? Does he fall off this pedestal, or does he maintain? What do you think? When he actually gets in the ring with, let's say he gets in the ring with Anderson Silva, and he loses. Let's say he gets embarrassed. And I'm not saying anything about it, but let's say this historic run he's got, if he loses, do you think that changes anything about his draw? Does he lose fans? Is he just another hot story? What do you think?
I think he loses a little bit of luster, I think, with the fans. However, especially if he loses to a UFC fighter. But now if he fights a boxer and he goes, a certain amount
of rounds. Can you hear me?
I can
hear mute again.
All right, hold on one sec. I'm gonna try something else. Hold on.
That's why we got to get you down in the studio, man. No, we can't hear nothing you saying, brother.
Here we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me check. Hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah, but what I was saying was, and we're gonna get off this in a minute, but if he loses, Gerard, do you think he still has the same popularity? Or is he just another story that because he's winning, if he starts to lose, is it over? Is it just a fast start or like a Jeremy Lin type of thing?
I think some people will consider him a gimmick if he loses, but I think that if he loses to the right person and it's a challenging fight, there will be an automatic rematch that will probably be worth even more money. But if he loses to someone like in UFC, it might really take away his luster. But I think he's onto something if he wants to build a legacy on celebrity boxing. I think this is an avenue that's not there. And I think that this is something where these are people we grew up watching in every single sport. Some people we liked, some people we hated, some people who had rivalries. Imagine them saying, hey, old timer celebrity boxing, 2 rounds, Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson, and some other people. This is the type of stuff that's going to bring money. So he's on to something. I think he can last, but he just can't have that really bad defeat that's going to turn people off. Like, all right, this gimmick's over. Is whack. A one album wonder. You know what I mean? Right. So
that's why I said Jeremy Lin. I mean, no disrespect to y'all in New York. I mean, we had him too, I think, in Houston. But yeah, I wonder, man, because for me, like I said, as a real boxing fan, I can't argue if he's winning. Now, again, of course, the question goes to was he ain't fighting a real boxer. But I'm telling you something, man, if he fights a real boxer and he wins, like if he would have fought Hasim Rahman Jr., which I think he wouldn't have, but if he would have won or knocked him down,
even a tie, even a draw,
even a draw, then I'm respecting him now, but I gotta start saying, man, I gotta take him serious as a legitimate fighter now. But anyway, man, I don't want to sound like I'm hating, but I'm a real boxing fan. But I gotta start giving the guy credit, man. I gotta start.
We have to, man. I have no problem giving him credit, man. I find him and his brother entertaining, man.
Yeah. Well, speaking of entertainment, speaking of what grabs the headlines, let's talk about this R.J. Barrett situation where it says R.J. Barrett accepted a contract extension from the New York Knicks, I believe for $120 million. I think was it an extension for 5 years or how many years? A 4-year deal, I believe.
It's 4 years with up to 120. They put a lot of incentives, all NBA, defensive team, all-star, and so forth.
Right. Now I'm kind of torn on the extension, but I'm leaning towards I think they did the right thing in New York. And the reason why I say that is because the kid is young. He's improved every year as far as points. I think as a rookie, he averaged about 14.3 points a game. His sophomore season, which is his second season, where he went up to 17.6. And then now I think what he just got out of his third season, if I'm correct, he went up to 20 points a game. And he rebounded 5.8 rebounds a game. So in the sense of him getting this extension, at first I was torn. And, I'm kind of like, because the reason why I'm torn, I'm like, man, it's not a lot of money and it's spread out well, but it's like, you know what? I'm kind of looking at it like, I told you before, in the years in the past, I told you, I'm like, man, Gerard, he got to show me more. I mean, he got to show me more. The potential is there. And I gave him a break. I always tell you, I gave him a break because he came out of school so early. He came out after 1 year in college. Duke did well. Of course, Zion was there too, but he was kind of the Robin to Zion's Batman. But I also thought that the kid came from a basketball background. He has extremely good work ethic. He's a pretty good athlete. He's about 6'7". He's long. So I knew the potential was there, but I kept telling you, I got to see him be that guy. You know what I'm saying? I got to see it. And what I mean by that guy is I'm not necessarily saying that he had to be the guy that carried the team, but I needed to see flashes of him being able to take over a game, whether it be points, rebounding, or any aspect of the game. If I could see him take over the game and command, double teams, or, command attention from the other team's defenses and coaches. Basically what I'm saying is if they had to account for him any given night or night for night, with rookies and young players, one of the things that they lack is consistency. Not all of them, but I kept telling you, man, I got to see more. And I'm not going to lie, man, you pointing out to me and I'm following him a little bit more. And like I said, he increased his points. He increased his rebounding. I think his field goal percentage increased. So I'm buying into it. I think for me, for an extension for young players, and I'm talking about players across the spectrum. When you start talking about extension, I look for certain things. Number one, are you durable? Are you there? Can I count on you to be here for a significant part of the season? Does other teams have to account for you? You know what I'm saying? Do I put you in another spot? Do they have to account for you no matter where you are on the court, no matter what role you play? Do other teams have to worry about you? And again, are you coachable? Are you able to adjust to what coach wants you to do, or if you switch up things? And so all that criteria he checks off for me. Give me your thoughts and concerns about this extension. And I know you brought something up to me the other night that was interesting about this, that you said it could be a possible scenario. So give me your thoughts about that and tell me, what you think. What does this do for the Knicks as an organization? What does it do for them, if things work out the way they want to with this extension, or if something else happens? What does this extension do for you with RJ Barrett?
So this extension does a couple of things, but I want to lay out one stat line because we used to argue about this all the time. I used to always big up RJ, and they used to be like, I don't know. But there was an interesting stat that I read earlier. It says, following the breakout season, Barrett placed himself in rare air, joining an elite list of names to total 2,000 points, 500 rebounds, and 300 assists before turning the age of 21. Those other people were Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic. I'm not saying that he's with them and that he's going to be as great as them, but I'm saying the work ethic is there, and to do something like that, if other people could do it, they would do it. And I have to give him his props and say a lot of people doubted him. You were one that doubted him, and I just want you to know that he's gritty, he works hard. So
and see this way. Hold on, before we get to this is what it is, man. This is New York right here. This for everybody that's paying attention to this podcast. This is how you know when somebody is a true fan. Okay. He pulls this stat out, and it's a very, if you try to make a case for a player, it's the type of stat that you put out. He pulls out a stat that puts RJ Barrett in the company of the late, great Kobe Bryant. I believe it was LeBron James.
Canadian Mamba right here, man. Canadian Mamba. Don't forget that, yo. New York all day, man.
So this is him. And here's the thing. For everybody that's listening to this podcast, this is why I love this dude, man, because at the end of the day, I don't care if we don't make it on this show, I'm vouching for him to be in journalism because he does exactly what Skip and Shannon do. They give you a stat, a random stat that's true, but that makes that case. So, okay, all right, man, go ahead. He's in the company of LeBron James.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
But I think this is important for the Knicks for many reasons, because since I think it was 1999, the last New York Knicks to ever get extended beyond a rookie contract was Charlie Ward.
Wow.
Shout
out to Charlie Ward too, man. I know Charlie, man. I did some work with Charlie. Shout out to Charlie, man.
We gotta get Charlie on the show one day, man.
We are. I'm trying to get that into action, man. Charlie, if you get a hold of this podcast, man, and get at me, man. I'm gonna try to get at you. We need to talk to you about a lot of things, but go ahead. Let's stick with RJ Barrett, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, man. So RJ Barrett, he's the cornerstone. He's everything that you think of when you think of like an old school New York Knicks person. Works hard, gets it from the mud. Was the underdog. Everyone didn't believe in him. He's probably the most certified Knick since Patrick Ewing, besides Carmelo Anthony, but the original Knick. So I'm gonna go with that. But to go back to his story for the signing, the reason why it took so long to sign him is because we're trying to get Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
So in the process of trying to get Donovan Mitchell, Danny Ainge has been giving us a runaround, asking for more draft picks, that he's switching the names on who he wants in the draft. And I just feel like he's trying to fleece us because he knows our GM used to be a former agent. He's new and he got a lot of picks for Rudy Gobert. However, little did we know when it came out in the papers this week that throughout, several weeks of negotiating, going back and forth, and we actually offered RJ in 2 unprotected first-round picks and a conditional first-round pick, and they turned it down. But little did we know that the GM said, hey, you have until this past Monday that just went by to take our offer, or we're going to sign RJ Barrett. And because he is loyal to RJ Barrett, he does want RJ Barrett. He has supporters in the Knicks organization. It's just a matter of, Donovan Mitchell right now is more ready-made, and he used to also be the GM. Also used to be the agent for Donovan Mitchell, or used to work for the agency that owns that works with him. So what happened was that we signed him, and now there's an issue with how the trade is going to go down if the trade still goes down. Right now, originally Danny Ainge wanted him, and now they're saying the money may not work because there's a poison pill with the way that the extension works. Now they're going to have to add additional contracts or additional pieces, and we can't meet on the middle ground. I think it's great for the Knicks, though, that we signed them, because I think it shows to the league that we want to keep our players, even though we also were, trying to gauge. I also thought it was a power move just to gauge and see what RJ value was, because I don't really think they really want to trade him. But just to gauge his value. But overall, I think it was the signing that we needed as an organization. And now that if we can find another way to get Donovan Mitchell, we have our number 1 option. And then we have a person in RJ Barrett who could be either a number 1 or 2 option, a number 2 or 3 option. I'm sorry, on a great team.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because you brought up some good points here. One thing I want to ask you about first, you said that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you tell me. I'm going to ask this question, and you tell me if I'm asking the right question. I'm translating what you're saying. So, do you think that you made the comment that the Knicks, in terms of this trade, I guess everything is still on the table? Mm-hmm. Did this move contract-wise, this extension with RJ, number 1, do you think the deal still can be made to Utah? Number 1, that's my first question. Mm-hmm. And, the follow-up question, or the question that's related to that, or did this deal kill the move or kill the possible trade? Number 2, if you do say that, this trade is still possible, do you think the Knicks did this with this value, this contract extension? Did they do this to kind of affect the deal with Utah? So in other words, New York is saying, okay, we signed RJ to this contract extension. Now, does that change the terms? Is New York jockeying for a position with Utah or anybody else that could be involved in a multi-team trade? Does this contract extension kind of change things for New York in relation to that trade?
So the way I look at it, to answer your first one, the deal, I think is a perfect deal because it's incentive laden, and we didn't give him the full extension, which I think with the rising salary cap would have been like $193 million. We all know RJ ain't there yet. He might end up being there, based off the statistics I gave you earlier in his ascending nature as a basketball player.
His points is going up every year. Yes.
Yeah. Did it kill the deal? I think it could do 2 things. I think that 1, I feel like it's a team friendly deal with contracts going up. So I think that and I've read in articles that he could still be part of the deal. New York fans, it's still there. He could still be part of the deal. and a lot of fans, we ain't happy about that. But at the same time, it also helped us because it also allowed us to say, hey, you may not want this contract because you're trying to rebuild. And to rebuild, you probably want fresh, you probably want draft picks and young players. How about you take option B, which is this is our option B. So I think in that standpoint, it helped us out. The other point was I think that the move by signing him also showed Danny Ainge that you're not dictating our terms. We're dictating the terms here.
That's a great point.
And because I don't think Danny Ainge was probably believing him saying, hey, you got till Monday. He probably thought, oh, I could still, keep playing with him because there's so many times Danny Ainge wanted Grimes and then he wanted RJ, then he wanted Obi quickly and 6 picks, so and now we said, no, this is the line and saying we're signing our man because one, you also want to make sure that RJ's happy here if he has to stay. And if he feels as if you're just trying to get rid of him, that's going to make an unhappy player who may not want to come, or he may not come to training camp. This has been the new move with the Simmons and people were saying that it could possibly happen with Durant, but I guess they settled their differences. But back to RJ Barrett, I think this is perfect for him. He secures the bag. Now he can play for Canadian national team if he decides to. This also sets the market as far as what we possibly have to give to Utah, and Utah can't ask for more than that because everything has to fit within the parameters of an NBA trade.
Right. And that's that last point you said, that latter point, that's what I was really getting to. Because when we spoke about this the other night, and again, I wasn't even thinking about it till you said it, in terms of, New York doing this in terms of, okay, Utah, you guys want to play hardball. Because, we both know that what Danny Ainge was asking for was ridiculous. It was almost disrespectful in the sense that we know you guys, we here in Utah know you guys in New York need a superstar. We know you really want Donovan bad, but you're going to do it on our terms. And so the deals that was coming up, the deals that were reported were just ridiculous. And so that's why when you brought that up the other night and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, kudos to New York and the management team for, okay, dude, you're trying to handle us, but at the same time, we're going to do this because, again, it checks the box that we're rewarding our young star. We believe in him. He's shown us that he's willing to work and he's improved every year. He's got numbers behind him showing him that he's been improving. He's been working. There's been times during the season that he's taken over games. He's stepped up. Some of those times have translated in wins just off of his back alone. So we're rewarding our young superstar. We're also creating room for us if we want to do some more things in the off season. This kind of clears up any kind of thing that's kind of floating around. And so I think it's a great move, again, because I do think RJ Barrett has shown me enough, and I'm pretty sure he's shown everybody else enough. I think he's shown people outside of New York City, besides myself too, that he can be the real deal. He's averaging 20 points a game. That's not easy in the NBA, Gerard.
Yeah, it's not.
We can't take that for granted. Now, I don't know where his ceiling is, but one thing I like that you said is his work ethic. His work ethic in the offseason, and I think he has the potential to be an all-star. But I think I'm glad you answered those questions because that's what I was really kudos to you guys in your organization. Y'all haven't had much to be happy about in terms of the organization, but lately, along with RJ, the move for Jalen, this move in particular about RJ says that not only do you guys want to reward him, but you want some respect when it comes to trades and everything. So, from that standpoint, man, that's a positive move towards an organization that's been dormant for years, trying to get back to being a contender. So I agree with it, man. I really would like you guys. I really want to see you guys get Donovan Mitchell. But, and I'm hard on New York, but I'm with y'all in the sense that we're not going to take Donovan Mitchell, meaning New York, from Utah, and y'all going to railroad this franchise for him.
It can't happen.
Yeah,
we already did that with the Denver Nuggets for Carmelo Anthony, and you saw it set us back like 20 years.
Right. So I mean, hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. I have to tip my hat to you guys, even though I don't like to, and, and even though we the odds were against us in '94, we spanked y'all too, but we'll talk about that later. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we all have to
Always
talk
gonna
about that
hold
later.
that over your head because we ain't neither one of us been able to get back to the finals since.
Neither one of us, but y'all had some good runs. Y'all had superstars. Since you and left, we haven't had that.
We did. Yeah, we did, man. But yeah, no, I tip my hat to you guys, man. I think it was a power move, like I said before. All right, let's get to the NFL, man. The season is coming up. There's a lot of things that we're gonna get into in the later episodes. There's some political things in the NFL we want to talk about too. I love talking about political things with the NFL because out of all the major leagues, man, when we're talking about baseball, basketball, I think the NFL just as much cleaning up as they've done, with breast cancer, domestic violence, I still think they get things wrong. I feel bad for some of them brothers because it's like, man, I really wish they would take control of their league from the players wise, like the NBA does, but it's so much behind ownership and things like that. But one thing that we want to talk about tonight, and when we talk about political and racial issues, is this thing with Jon Gruden. I believe Jon Gruden, and we got the article, you sent the article today. I believe he apologized for some comments that were brought up about him. Or somebody have a recording or something about him? It came out last year that he made some, was it racial remarks in terms of in reference to another African-American player, I believe.
Yeah, Jon Gruden started coaching in 1992 at the age of 28, was working under Mike Holmgren. He's been in the league for about 15 years. He was the youngest coach at the time to win a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the age of 39. So Gruden, who spent 15 years as a head coach in the league, resigned from his position with the Raiders last October after news outlets reported on his emails, which contained racist, homophobic, misogynistic language. The league email chain, which spans from 2011 to 2018, occurred when Gruden was employed by ESPN as a lead broadcaster. So a lot was said during that time. And a lot has happened during that time. He resigned from the role. He hasn't been in the media at all. And I guess today he was in at a college or at some event, and he gave an apology. He says, "I'm not going to say anything but honest things here," Gruden said. "I'm ashamed about what has come about in these emails, and I'll make no excuses for it. It's shameful, but I'm a good person. I believe that. I go to church. I've been married 31 years. I got 3 great boys. I still love football. I made some mistakes, but I don't think anybody in here has it." Gruden, who won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, added, "And I just ask for forgiveness, and hopefully I get another shot." So there's a couple of things here I want to ask you, and there's a couple of things that I'm bothered by this. One, I'm bothered because I didn't feel when I seen it on TV when he gave the apology that it was sincere, but I can't say that and I can't judge it because, that's my perspective. So I'm going to keep my perspective to myself.
Right.
Another issue that I have is because I know how the system works, is that he probably will get another chance.
Oh, yeah.
And the part that bothers me is that there's so many Black and Latino and people of color coaches that don't get second chances and these third chances and fourth chances, especially after doing something like that.
Right.
And I see so many issues with him, even if he was to get the job back. How can you work in these places where you said things about people of color, where you said things about people in the LGBT community? Like, how can you accept this man back as a role and people respect him and think that it's sincere? Do you think that, one, his apology is sincere? Do you think, like for me, I didn't even get what going to church had to do with, with his, hey, I go to church, so you should forgive me. That's the way I took it.
Right. Well, let me put on my owner's hat and let me tell you what I'm thinking. First of all, as an owner, and I'm thinking about when I speak from my owner's chair, I have to be aware of, what's my message to my city? What's my message to my fan base? So number one, do I forgive him? Yeah, I forgive him because of my religious beliefs. I mean, everybody I think deserves to be forgiven. But he doesn't get another shot with my organization. It's simply because of this. John Gruden has been in the NFL for years, whether it be broadcasting, whether it be coaching, uh, head football coach. He was an
Yeah.
assistant coach in the NFL. And so the thing that makes me uh, say no to him is that, to me, you've been in a position of leadership for years in this league, a predominantly Black league. And I have to go to bed at night saying, if I bring you back, or if I'm even thinking about putting you on my team, that you've had to have these thoughts for years. You've had to, I think that that's the kind of person you are, simply because you should know better. Even if those thoughts come in your mind, the fact that you were able to put them down, or the fact that you were comfortable enough to put them down in emails, is just does you can't be on my team like that, because at the end of the day, that's you, that's your character, and I'm pretty sure this too. As an owner, I'm sitting there saying to myself, this has been on emails. I'm pretty sure though, it may have been on another email, it's been a text message, it's been in a conversation, it's been in the coach's room. And what I mean by the coach's room, it may not even been around other, I'm pretty sure it wasn't around other, I would hope it wasn't around other African American coaches. And but it's happened. And to me, it's happened numerous of times. Another thing too, Gerard, you got to remember this. Tim Hardaway made a comment years ago, I think, about John Amici, saying that John Amici came out and said that he was gay. And Tim Hardaway says, well, I don't like him. I don't want him on my team. I don't want him in my locker room. He was a commentator. They banned him off of radio, period. And so if Tim Hardaway is banned off of radio, and I know it's a different sport, but
But didn't he get a job after that? Didn't he work for the Miami Heat after that as a scout?
Again, brother. So if Tim Hardaway was suspended indefinitely for that, then John Gruden doesn't get another shot at my organization. You still mute. But yeah, John Gruden still doesn't get another shot at my organization. And then I also got to think about this from the marketing standpoint, Gerard. I'm an NFL owner. I'm an NFL owner. This is my team. I care about my demographics. Yes. I want minorities to come to my game. I want Black and brown people to enjoy my product. I want all of that. So for the sake of my organization, he's mute, Chuck. For the sake of my organization, he mute. He keep going mute. For the sake of my organization, Gerard, I don't want you on my team as a marketing, for marketing. Because again, I gotta spend X amount of dollars to assure my fan base that me bringing you, I gotta assure them that you're not this guy that everybody knows you to be or found out you to be. So no, I mean, he's not a benefit to me. He's got some character issues. So no, I can't, Gerard, just for the sake of who I think he is, just for the sake of my marketing and my organization. That's not the message I want my fans to have. He's back. All of that, like
I think one of my main issues. Screen frozen.
We can hear you though. Keep going. Can you hear me? Oh, he froze up. But to add to that, just to keep going, yeah, I mean, to me, the underlying thing about John Gruden, like I said, is if you able to put that down in emails, that's the type of person you are to me. You too old. You're not a teenager. When you said or when you made those comments, when you wrote those emails, that was you. That was your character. That's who you are. Now, again, I can forgive you. You know, I can forgive you, but at the same time, I don't want you on my team. Even the guys that I bring in, I'm bringing in players of different colors, different creeds and all that. I don't want my players to sit here and think, man, this guy is a possible racist, or this guy probably doesn't like me, because, you know, young players think that kind of stuff, you know? So to me, it's not worth it. Number one is character. He's too old. Because let me tell you something, even in your thoughts, if you think that, the idea that you felt comfortable enough to bring that to life, whether it be an email or a conversation, I don't want you on my team.
And what's so interesting about that is because I was listening to Keyshawn Johnson, and Keyshawn Johnson was talking about, in Jay Williams, they were talking about, they don't even think he could coach in college, which would also could possibly, actually, because how are you going to recruit individuals that you just made those comments about?
And Gerard, think about this today. I don't mean to cut you off, but think about this today. In today's climate, post George Floyd, everything that's going on, and the NFL is the last league, to me, this is my personal opinion, is the last league to really address racial turmoil. I mean, of course, they, on the back of Ray Rice, they spent a lot of money to try to get the females' perspective back into the sport. They were sympathetic. I think even with the Deshaun Watson suspension, they went overboard to kind of protect that image that they work for. But to me, the whole Colin Kaepernick situation, all of that, the racial stuff that came from that, even the Flores in Miami, even the Brian Flores situation, again, the you know, Eric Bieniemy. I mean, nobody's hiring Eric Bieniemy, and people were telling me, "Oh, that stuff. He's the successor to Andy Reid." But here's the thing: it bothers me that he can't get an interview. And you know, nobody's coming out and saying it, even if it is something else. It seems to be racial, you know. So on the back of all that controversy, everything that the NFL has gone through in terms of race, and there's other things that we haven't even talked about that we'll get to in the future. No, John Gruden, no, I'm sorry. And you know, I can't do it. And it's not even that I can't do it. And I'm talking about from that marketing perspective and players and all that, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah, what type of precedents are you setting?
Right, I don't want to do it. And a part of me, one of the things that I try to do if I'm an owner, if I run an organization, if I ever get a chance to do that someday, maybe me and you someday. But even if this podcast, if things take off, here's the thing. I don't want the product that I'm trying to sell to my fans. I don't want my fans sit back second guessing going, if this guy's got a guy that's known to be a racist or use racist comments in his building, I don't want people to have to deal with that. I don't want people to be like, man, I don't know if I really want to, you know, because he's got a known guy on his staff that's made racial comments or could possibly be a racist.
You know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy though, is that look what just happened in Jacksonville. When the former Ohio State coach hired the coach, and I think this coach, I don't want to say the wrong institution over the airways, but they hired this college coach who was known for doing that.
Exactly.
And they actually thought it was okay. That he was forgiven, you know, he changed, he admitted he was wrong, all this other stuff. But that's what scares me about Gruden, is that I could see them saying, oh, his apology was sincere enough. Let's hire him because he's good. His talent as a head coach supersedes, you know, his mistakes.
And then another thing that they'll do that makes me upset is they'll get a bunch of black players that, oh, I played for him before. He didn't have a racist body. This is out of character for him. No, listen, even if that's the case, the fact that he was okay with doing that and put it into reality, your thoughts are your thoughts.
Yep.
You could be the most racist dude, racist, person in the world in your mind. I think probably if you are, it's going to eventually come out. But the fact that you were able to do it in that capacity where you're coaching young Black men, young Latino men, even some of your fellow coaches that you're hiring are of a different color, race, no, I can't have you around. I mean, and again, as an owner or a person, a part of the management team, like I was telling you earlier, the product, I don't want my customer in the back of their minds thinking that this guy could possibly be a racist, because I'm putting myself in the shoe of the customer. I'm not going to spend my money like that. And then if I put myself in the shoes of my players, my coaches that are around my organizations, my staff, my kitchen staff at the stadium and all that, I mean, I don't want people going home saying, that owner Baker, it's been found and it's been, proven that this guy that he's got on his staff coaching had racist emails. And he apologized for it. And even though he apologized for it, he's got him on the team. No, I don't want my players and coaches to have to sit home every night and think, because think about it, if you working in this business as a player or a coach, and it's already hard enough to be on a team, but you also got to go home at night and go, man, I think this dude might be a racist, or, that's going to affect how you work. That's going to affect how you come to work. No, I don't. I don't care if he's Bill Belichick. I don't care how good you are on my team. It doesn't fly, and it just doesn't fly. I can't. It's a character issue. It's a marketing issue. It's a work environment issue. I can't do it, because at the end of the day, how can I sleep at night? And that's what I believe in. Players being able to play, coaches being able to coach based on their ability and knowledge of the game, not the color of their skin or anything like that. That's what I champion myself. That's one of my values. So how do I feel letting somebody that's doing that or have done that be on my staff? It's a no for me. I can't. I don't care how much knowledge it is. And, I don't care how good he is. I don't think John Gruden is that good personally on the football side. I mean, I hear him talk on ESPN and it sounds good. I don't have any personal beef I don't have any personal animosity towards him, but I always thought that he was kind of overrated anyway in the coaching box, because my personal opinion, when he won in Tampa Bay, that was Tony Dungy's players.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%.
Me and you could have went down there and we would have won a Super Bowl. I mean, that was one of the greatest defenses I've ever seen. Warren Sapp, Derrick Brooks, and all them, Rondé Barber and all that. Tony Dungy put that team together, and we know it wasn't John Gruden, because at the end of the day, he was never able to put something together like that, like Tampa Bay. And also at the end of the day, we've seen Tony Dungy go to another organization. I believe it was the Colts.
Yep.
And take them to the Super Bowl, AFC Championship. So, the proof is in the pudding. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, like I said, prior to this, I had no issue with him. I just didn't think he was that good of a coach anyway. I think he got a lot of credit for something that he kind of inherited. He didn't build that team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing to me. I'm not inside the football world. I'm talking about him football wise. I'm not in the football world to say, hey, I know that he coached a quarterback in college and he has a coaching tree now that like a Belichick or a Bill Walsh, where these guys branched off and they were successful. I'm not indulged in that world enough to say that, but I'm saying what I've seen from him on the field as a head coach. I never was impressed with him. I mean, I think he does a pretty good job on ESPN, but he's not the best to me.
So I think one of the main reasons why I don't see them letting him come back, because I think that they'll be doing a complete 360 in regards to Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
The
that's
league.
what I'm saying. Colin
Yeah.
Kaepernick, in the wake of George Floyd,
Mhm.
all of that. The NFL is not going to do that. And again, because they have to, again, they spend so much money even with domestic violence and women.
Mhm.
But you know, they're trying to fix the race thing. I think one of the problems why they can't fix it as quickly as they want to is that they don't acknowledge it as much as they should.
Mhm.
You know,
They
but
care about the dollar more than they care about the people.
right,
So
right. But at the end of the day, they can't allow it. They
Mhm.
can't allow it because on the heels of Colin Kaepernick, George Floyd, all of that, that would be a nightmare if they let him come back. As far as marketing, as far as the media, to me, it would almost be. It wouldn't be suicide, but they would definitely be damaging themselves. And then you got him on this.
Mhm.
You got him on the quote apologizing.
Mhm.
You know, and telling everybody that this is not him. So he's telling you that that was him who did those emails or who
Mhm.
authorized those emails, whether he said it or not. So no,
But he goes to church now. I guess that's the new thing. Hey, you go to church, you forgiven. You
yeah.
know, so
I mean, I get it. You can be forgiven. And again, I would forgive him, you know, but at the end of the day, he can't be on my team. I can't. He can't be on my team because at the, you know, if he it's just cut and dry with me. If he can say that and do that and authorize that once, you know, I
I
think it's a
think
character thing.
I think the most I feel like he can do is actually be an advocate for change in these areas, in these arenas, donate his time and money to speak on
Right.
these things. And he could do that working for the NFL front office. He could do that working, you know, donating his time in the community. But I just can't see him, like you said, working with a team. It just doesn't make any sense.
And I'll take it one step further. If I'm the NFL, I don't have anything with his name on it. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. He can go help in high school football. If college football wants to, you know, if he wants to go help at a university, that's fine. If he wants to volunteer. I mean, I understand what you're saying as far as repairing his image.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Gerard, he's old.
Mhm.
And when I say he's old, I mean he's not like, you know, he's not like the guy for the Rams, Sean McVay.
Mhm.
He's old. He's old up there. And, you know, here's the thing. if the NFL, and I'm not sure, did he resign before they punished him? I bet you they encouraged him to resign, right?
I think they encouraged him resigning. He took a settlement, if I recall right, because he did sign a 10-year, $100 million contract with the Raiders.
Okay, so I'm assuming when you say settlement, like he didn't take all of that money, he just took a small amount of that. Is that what you mean, or when you say a settlement?
I want to say, that they probably didn't pay him out the whole $100 million, but they probably paid him what he was owed up until that point, and maybe for the rest of that year. In the next show, I'll elaborate more on that, you know, just to clear it up.
Yeah, and even then, you know, I was gonna say this. I mean, I don't think he got suspended. I think he still got off financially.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he still got off financially. So I mean, what has he really suffered? He suffered a little bit of public backlash. You know what I'm saying? Deshaun Watson got suspended. Deshaun Watson got fined, and I'm not saying it's the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ray Rice got kicked out of the game, rightfully so. You can't do what he did. So for John Gruden, who was a coach, who was active with the Las Vegas Raiders, who got a contract where they paid him 10 millions or millions of dollars, I don't know, what did he really get as far as a punishment?
Nothing.
So you see what I'm saying? So again, to me, the guy got off. He admitted to it.
But the bigger
I mean,
issue.
I'm not saying he. Let me rephrase that. He was able to resign, as far as we know, without any real, other than public backlash. He didn't get a fine. You know, he didn't get fired. You know, he really didn't get punished or nothing like that. So to me, you know,
But you want to know
one of the things he gotta go out with me is you can't come back. I'm sorry.
I'm not
You got
only
your money. You got your money. You know, you probably live in a section in town, and you probably run with people who ain't gonna hold you accountable for that statement anyway.
True.
You know
True.
what I'm saying?
You
what
ain't
I'm
lying
saying?
about that, because you got to think about it. You got to think about it. To add to that, from the year 2011 to 2018 was the investigation. So you telling me he's been doing this since 2011, and in 2018 he stopped, and it's found out maybe, I think, what year was it found out? A couple of years ago. But think about how long those conversations been going on within the league, with front offices, with staff members. It's sickening.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's what I was saying earlier. You know, this ain't just a single incident.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's happened. Even if it's been reported, if it's been an investigation, that means it's happened multiple times. And if it's happened multiple times, usually when things are investigated, there's allegations, there's things that cause people to say, hey, we need to do an investigation on this. So this has been ongoing. You can't convince me it hadn't been. And he's an older guy. You know what I'm saying? He's a very brash guy. And I'm not saying that's negative to be brash. I mean, you got to have a certain amount of temperament to be a head coach. But, you know, to me, if you cut the camera off and you interview some people that's probably been around him, this has probably been going on for a long time.
It makes me wonder about his brother. I wonder, and I don't want to put him along with his brother, but sometimes I think about, you grew up in the same household. You pick up the same values. Is this person like this as well?
And that's why I'm telling you, Gerard, as an owner, that's what I'm saying. These are all the things that we talking about, me and you talking about. This is going through my mind. Why he can't be on my team. Because at the end of the day, it was an investigation. The fact that you could put that out or authorize that, that's you. You know what I'm saying? And again, you know, you commentating on ESPN. You were doing quarterback camps on ESPN. You were affecting quarterbacks, young players coming into the league. So you had a major role of influence in the National Football League for years, not just coaching, commentating, football camps. You were a major advocate for NFL football for years.
And talking about black quarterbacks and black
obviously
players.
You're obviously dealing with, you know, multiple players of color. And so you were the leader. And so if you feel that way about, if you able to allow these kind of emails to surface, and you're a part of them, or you allowed them again, I don't know the full extent. We just know that, you know, what's being reported, but you've been involved in this kind of stuff. And so it's just kind of like, I can't do it. I can't do it. You can't be on my team. And to me, the guy really shouldn't be associated with the National Football League ever again. I know that sounds harsh, but I think he's gotten off. He's made his money. He's made millions of dollars off this league. He's made millions of dollars off of black players. He's made millions of dollars off of Latino players. You know, he's got a Super Bowl ring off of players. He's got a Super Bowl ring off of another guy who constructed that team that was full of black players. So
you're right.
No, it's a no for me, man. That's actually easy for me. You know, I'm not even comparing outside of, I mean, I did compare it to an outside situation, but yeah, no, man. Other guys are getting fined, suspended. You know, he didn't get fined. I mean, they telling us that he got a settlement, but if the Raiders paid him that much money, Gerard, ain't no telling what's going on in that contract. Ain't no telling how much back money he got. You know, so nah, man. I'm sorry, man. You know, I'm a forgiving guy. I forgive the guy. I think anybody can be forgiven.
So
hey, it's been real, man. Another good show. Again, I appreciate you, brother. We making things happen, man. I just hope you keep rolling with me.
For sure.
It's been real from Mo City to New York. We'll catch up next week and we'll do it again. We're going to have some more good stuff coming on. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Debate with Bake podcast. You can stream this on Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow Mo Serious Entertainment on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe to Mo Serious Entertainment. And to everybody that's listening, man, peace, love. We appreciate it. Make sure you take a look at Cole, what he's doing on his end. And shouts out to New York, all my people in New York on the East Coast. We appreciate the love. And we out.